Hey guys, AuspiciousAussie here, and welcome to episode 5 of my Athletic Bilbao series. So today is going to be a game against Barcelona. We're also going to go over the pre-season fixtures. The first league game of the season was against Girona. And the reason for not recording that episode and recording this Barcelona episode, apart from it being self-explanatory of course, is the fact that end of the transfer window closed just before this game, and there was quite a lot of activity that went on during the end of the transfer window, so I wanted to get all that done and make sure that you guys are fully informed with this first episode of our second season. So if we go into transfers first of all, because I think there's been quite a lot of activity that there wasn't really for the first season. As you can see, quite a few players went out. Most of these were from the B and C team, and we just let all of them go on free transfers to all these different teams. The only one that really stands out is Unai Perez, 17-year-old goalkeeper. Doesn't really have a lot of potential, but he went to Osasuna, who is essentially one of our local rivals, if that makes sense. Another pretty big team, Granada and Mallorca there as well as Levante. Actually, I didn't really see them. But the first notable player that left was Yere. I was pretty reluctant to sell him, being that last season he performed very well for us, and of course he filled in a lot at right back as well. But we did let him go to Atletico Madrid. I believe it was for 16.75. I thought it might have been 15, but it was 16.75 transfer fee, and then a possible appearance fees make it go up to 19.5. While I think that is still a little bit low for a player of his quality, and sort of just how important and vital he was to us last season, he was one of the players that was kicking up a big fuss. Atletico Madrid were really coming in quite hard for him. I think I negotiated the transfer about 5 or 6 times and sort of could only get up to that level. I think he was only valued at something like, I think, 11 million. So it was very hard when a player is valued low like that to try and get what you think is worth, or his worth, I suppose. We then let Adoni Lopez go out on loan. He's the left back that made a couple appearances last season. Oh, actually, no, he was on loan. I might have sent him out on loan last season as well, I can't remember. Or he might have started out on loan, I can't exactly remember. But he goes to Charleroi SC in Belgium. I mean, he's a bit of a nothing player, to be honest. And yeah, we'll probably just let him go once his contract expires at the end of the season. The next player we let go was backup goalkeeper Unai Simon. He left for Chelsea to join Kepa there as well. And of course, I did actually scout Kepa, and we're definitely not going to be able to bring him back. But he left for 7.5 million up front, with 50% of next transfer, which is massive, absolutely massive. So him being so young, 22 years old, if Chelsea do decide to sell him on for a pretty large fee in the future, we will get half of that transfer fee. So honestly, I think that's a nice little piece of business that we've undertaken there. I didn't really want to sell him because he does have a lot of potential, and of course we'd be losing our backup goalkeeper that is arguably on the same level as our starting keeper as well. But again, he wasn't getting any game time. Chelsea came in with that. I managed to negotiate a pretty good deal, so he left. The next player that went out is Inaki, and Inaki is a player that we brought in this season. He is a 16-year-old Spanish regen. We signed him from Sporting Gijon for 1 million, as you can see over here. Very talented right winger, lots of pace, pretty good technical skills for a 16-year-old, and he's got 20 determination, 13 flair, which is pretty much exactly what I like to see, to be honest. He's got a bucket load of potential. I believe he was rated 4 stars, with the potential 5th star there as well. And yeah, Racing Santander came in with a loan offer for first team football. honestly, I wanted to keep him at the club for maybe 1 or 2 seasons in the youth team before I let him go out on loan. But Racing Santander, they're a second division team in La Liga 2, and I just thought it'd be beneficial, to be honest, for him to go out on loan. The next player we let go was Inaki Williams, and a lot of you are probably thinking it was coming, and unfortunately it did happen. Real Madrid put an offer in at the start of the window, which was very low, and I rejected it. Inaki Williams, of course, got upset, was requesting a transfer, all these different things, all these issues came with it. Same sort of thing happened to Yuri as well, but I did manage to keep him, and we rejected all the offers that came in for him. They were very low, like less than what we paid for him, like 13 mil for Yuri, which is very undervalued. But Inaki Williams, another offer came in towards the end of the transfer window. I tried to negotiate it, they withdrew because it was too high again. And then on deadline day, just before deadline day, as you can see, the 26th of August, another offer came in, non-negotiable offer as well, 37.5 million. Not all of it up front, but most of it, a strong majority. I think it was 26 million or something like that, 24 million up front, and then the rest over, I think it was 12 months, plus about 9 million in appearance or potential appearance fees and international appearances and all that type of stuff. So overall, the transfer could reach 46.5 million, which I think it's fair enough. I mean, if you think about last season, he didn't really do much. He only scored, I mean, I'll show you guys his profile. He never really progressed that much either. He's 25 now, so he's sort of starting to hit peak. I mean, he's highly rated, of course, as he would be, because he's a quality player. As you can see, 4.5-star potential with 4-star current ability. But 36 league games last season, only managed 11 goals, and a strong majority of the games he was starting up front. 1 assist, 6.93 average rating over the season. Just not worth keeping around when that much money is being offered, to be honest. And his sale is probably the catalyst that's, along with Champions League football this season, but probably the financial catalyst that's going to put the club into a different, threshold in terms of what we're able to spend and the players and the potential youth players that we're able to bring in going forward into the future. So yeah, I was happy with it. I wanted 50 million all up, but I'll take 46.5, even though most of it could come in the future. Well, not most of it, but a nice little percentage will come in the future from appearance fees. We also got 20% of profit on his next transfer as well. So if he does, hit it off and then get the big transfer somewhere else, we'll get a nice little chunk of the profit there as well. We also sold Xabi Exitia to Getafe for 275k, 31-year-old centre-back. We sent him out on loan last season, or I think he was probably already out on loan. I can't actually remember. I think he was already out on loan. But yeah, he left the club. Just wanted to get him off the wage bill. He was complaining as well, wanted the transfer, so I just thought, you know what? We'll pay a little bit of your wages, and you can go, mate. And off he went. And the final player we let go of on deadline day was Inigo Eguaras. Of course, we brought him in last season. I mean, he didn't really play too much, to be honest. Only the 8 games, and most of them were sub-appearances. As you can see, 1 start, 7 sub-appearances off the bench. We brought him in for 1.3, and we've sold him for 1.7, with, again, some appearance fees there as well. A nice little 800k or so. He did a job. Let's say that. Eguaras, thank you for the 1 season, and I hope you do all. I wish you all the best. Basically, is sort of how I felt with this transfer. Yeah, so he's gone. Went to Malaga, who I believe got promoted, if I'm not mistaken. No, they didn't. Oh yeah, they did. Yeah, they did get promoted. They finished first. Okay, so yeah, there are all the transfers out. The transfers in. First of all, Javi Martinez, brilliant little centre mid prospect, can play advanced playmaker attack very well. Got all the stats there. 2-star current ability, 4-star potential. Exactly what I wanted. Can also play on the left, but again, he's more of a winger, being left-footed. But again, a lot of people put a lot of preference on having inside forwards that are right-footed. I don't necessarily fall into that category. I would like them to be right-footed for that cut-in, but ultimately, it doesn't really matter that much. As long as they have a decent other foot, it's not too bad. He was Basque. We brought him in from Osasuna for 2.4 million. We then brought in Nacho Monreal. If you didn't know, I'm an Arsenal fan in real life. Monreal has probably been one of our better players over the Wenger era. Very solid left back that has played centre back on occasion. We brought him in on loan. We're only paying 30% of his massive wage, so we're only paying 24,500 of his 82,000. He is 33 years old, very old, but he's a loan. He's rotation, backup, whatever you want to call him, squad player. He'll fill in. Of course, we let one of our other centre backs go. So yeah, perfect little loan to solidify our depth in defence. Can play on the left, of course, and in centre. Good stuff. We already went over Inaki. Exciting little prospect. The next player we brought in was a backup goalkeeper, of course. We sold our backup, so we needed to get another guy in. Aitor Fernandez, exactly the perfect backup that I was looking for. He's 28 years old, but he is a sweeper keeper, and that is exactly what we want. As you can see, wages aren't too high, under 10k, and yeah, I'm pretty happy with this one. If he's needed, he will be called upon, and I have every faith in him to be able to play in games, to be honest. And that's exactly what I was looking for. So very happy with that. 900k, bit of a bargain as well, I think, for a backup goalkeeper. The next player, or the next two players, I should say, are some more youth prospects. First being Lucas Hermida. He is a centre-back that came from... Who did he come from? Celta Vigo for 2.9 million. We did have to pay his release clause to get him, but he's highly rated. His marking is a little bit low, which I'm a little bit worried about, as well as his determination. But of course, he's highly rated. 2-star current ability, 4-star potential, like the other ones, and really good pace. Don't really know what more I could ask, but he can also play defensive mid. I suppose that's another little positive there, and I'm pretty happy with that, to be honest. And the final player is Catalan, Pedro Javier Catalan. Pressing forward striker, 1.5-star current ability, 4-star potential, and just a nice prospect to get in that striking position. And yeah, of course, very highly rated. He was brought in from Valencia for 1.2 million, and that is our transfers. If we look at the finances now, of course, with all the sales, the Williams sale, that has pushed our finances through the roof at the moment, of course. We also got the Champions League group stage money, which was 13 million, I believe. So our balance currently sits at 107 million. And I also have the training facilities being upgraded, which I believe cost about 6.5 million, I think. I also, in the off-season, I got the junior coaching and youth recruitment up to excellent and extensive, which of course is very important for a club like Bilbao. We have to focus on youth players. We also managed to get Garmienda a contract. He looks very good, very, very good. Still really worried about his heading, but I've just got to let that go. I was looking at him and I thought maybe we could just use him as a right back. He's kind of got the stats there, sort of. Not so much going forward, but defensively, and of course he's got the pace as well. Lacking a little bit of positioning there as well, but that's all good. I'm going to stay in the youth team, might get some opportunities along with some of the other youth players that we have brought in. Another thing to mention before we get into the preseason fixtures is our Champions League group. Let me go to the schedule here. If we have a look at Group E, we have been drawn in a fairly easy group. Now, I say that with a pinch of salt because Shakhtar and Leverkusen are very good teams, as well as Celtic. But looking at this group, it could have been so much worse. And I'm very happy that we were actually third seeds going into this group stage draw. So to come out of it with these guys, I think is a very kind draw for us. And I think we could definitely get one of the top 2 positions in the group. Leverkusen will be a very tough game, as will Shakhtar. But yeah, looking forward to it. We're going to bring you one of these games for the next episode, which I'm looking forward to as well, kicking off our first ever Champions League campaign. So let's go into the fixtures now. Played quite a few friendlies, to be honest. The first being Osasuna, and Iraspé finally reached his 10 years at the club, so he got his testimonial. Won that one 3-0. Then versed Red Bull Salzburg, could only manage a 2-2 draw. Valencia up next, 2-0 victory. Guernica, 5-0 victory. Baracaldo, of course these two are actually our, what are they called, affiliated clubs. A 4-1 victory over Baracaldo. We then managed to smash Atletico Madrid. Of course, it's only pre-season, but a nice 4-1 victory there. And of course, before the season started, we versed our B team, Bilbao Athletic, and we managed to beat them as well. We then played the first game of the season. As I mentioned, everything sort of just lined up perfectly for me to live com the Barcelona game, so I decided that you guys would probably much prefer to be watching that game, as would I probably. I would enjoy more recording that one as well, and it just lined up perfectly, being on the 1st of September. So yeah, that's going to be our game today. We'll head into it now. Really looking forward to this one. I have dropped the mentality back to balanced, just because it is Barcelona. We are at home though, so I'm hoping for a good result. I want to start the season off again, similar to how we started last season. Really positive. I mean, we were just absolutely tearing through teams, and it was great, to be honest. It was great. The best start I've ever had to a series. Definitely finishing 2nd place in La Liga in my first season. Anyway, today's lineup is going to be Ramiro in goals, Kappa at right back, San Jose and Martinez will be our starting centre backs. We've got Yuri, as always, at left back. Iraspé, Benat, and Danny Garcia will make our midfield trio. And then we have Munain as the inside forward on the left, Sasita as the winger on the right, and Villalibre will start up front for us. The bench today will be Fernandez, Nunes, Lecue, Vesga, Lopez, Hervias, and Marino. And then, of course, Ganea, Martinez, and Cordoba, unfortunately, will miss out on this game. So let's get into the team talk. Of course, their team is, well, it is some team. I'm just going to tell them that we owe Barcelona after the last time, and hopefully that'll be enough to sort of fire them up a little bit. Of course, we did lose, was it 1-0? I think it was 1-0. I think, was it Rakitic goal last season, at the end of last season? Sasita's already picked up a knock as well, so we're going to take him off, unfortunately. Don't really want to risk injuries too much. We have a lot of squad depth this season, of course, because that was somewhat of an issue last season. But yeah, I just don't really want to risk... Oh god, we've already conceded. Okay. Vidal getting the goal there. 30 minutes in. Off the set piece as well, which is a little bit disappointing. Just going to give a shout and just encourage the boys here as we go into half-time. As you can see, it's still fairly even. We're just edging possession out a little bit. Yeah, that's unfortunate. They're only shot on target and they've got their goal. I'm going to passionately say... Actually, no, I'm going to go assertive and just say you've been unlucky. Hopefully they'll sort of react to that in a positive manner. Honestly, I would probably take the draw because it is Barcelona, and they did buy a few players this season. As you can see in their starting lineup, they've got Skriniar, the Slovakian centre back, who on this year's game is absolutely incredible. But they also brought in Zivkovic, the Serbian winger, who is very lethal. He obviously doesn't even find his place in the team today because of all the talent they have. But Munayin here on the ball. Ooh, tries to slot it away top corner. Not a great effort. I think we're going to make a sub here. I think Villalibre's been very disappointing. So I think we're just going to take him off and bring Sabin Marino on. I mean, no one's really been that great, to be honest. So I think we'll just leave it at that. We've got to keep that last sub just in case. Of course, it's only the second game of the season. As Coutinho gets in behind, shoots, and very, very good save there by Ramiro. Barcelona have another corner. Cleared away, only as far as Coutinho. And that's the end of the highlight there. Yeah, like I said, second game of the season. I mean, we're taking on Barcelona. It was always going to be a very tough game. Us being at home, I kind of thought that we had enough about us to maybe get a draw here, but it's not looking very likely at the moment, unfortunately. We're going to bring the Koué on, only because Kappa's pretty fatigued, unfortunately. Really happy to have Lekoué back, actually. He's definitely a quality addition to the team. Probably shouldn't have loaned him out last season, especially as I sold Oscar de Marcos, who was our starting right back, and we were left a bit short. We do have the ball here through... Oh, that's a good save. Yeah, Munayin took a shot, but disappointingly saved there by ter Stegen. We do have the corner though, Yuri to swing it in. And it's cleared away with ease. Unfortunate. Can we make something though in the 89th minute? No, we can't. Rakitic steals the ball away, and that is the end of the highlight. Only 30 seconds left. Can we at least get a cross in and maybe have a half chance? Marino is offside. Come on. I mean, it's a disappointing result to lose 1-0 at home, but it's Barcelona. I mean, to be fair, if you look at the stats, we were right there with them. We hung there. We're competing with teams like Barcelona. We beat them last season. Just going to say that it's unlucky. I mean, it's not the greatest result. Honestly, I wanted to get a draw, and I thought we had enough, but just not meant to be. Sasida out for 3 weeks with pulled knee ligaments. That's a bit of a hit. Of course, he got injured last season at the start as well, and it took him a while to sort of find his form, even once he came back. So, yeah, that's not great. And apparently, Marino hasn't scored in 17 matches. That's really not good. Anyway, unfortunately, that will put us a little bit lower in the league. Of course, 1 win. 1 loss, not the greatest in the world, but not the worst as well, of course, as far as the start goes. Interesting to note that Real Sociedad are the only team, along with Real and Barca, that have won both of their first 2 games. A couple of other teams still have to play. Yeah, interesting to see. They might be a little bit more competitive this season, hopefully, which will spice up the derbies a little bit as well. Anyways, that's going to wrap this episode up, guys. I will bring you in for a live commentary against Leverkusen in the next episode, away from home as well. It's going to be an interesting game. Leverkusen probably the strongest team in the group when you compare them with Celtic and Shakhtar. So I think that's a perfect amount of games. We of course will know sort of where the points are going to lie by then as well. Of course, we've already played them once along with Shakhtar and Celtic, so it'll be the second half of the group stage, if that makes sense. And yeah, really looking forward to the Champions League. Looking forward to again pressing on and hopefully challenging for Liga again this season. Disappointing last season not to win it, but we just crumbled towards the end there. Anyways, like I said, thank you for watching. Drop the video a like if you have enjoyed it. And of course, subscribe if you're a new viewer. And apart from that, take it easy and goodbye.